Yeah, hello and welcome to my second part of the Helios 44-2 refurbishment series. Within this part I want to show you the Helios 44-2 even more in detail because, yeah, I know that it's maybe quite complex to open up the lens for many people out there, and so I thought it's maybe helpful to make a second part and show you the lens more in detail because, yeah, I also had my problems with the Helios, and yeah, so I'm making this second part. At this point, I also want to mention that this is quite important. It's quite complex to open and to open the lens and put it together perfectly again. So if you think that it's too complex for you, please don't open up your lens. You maybe make it worse, and yeah, please also don't complain because your lenses are broken or so. And yeah, you're opening your lenses on your own risk, and yeah, that's it. At this point, I also want to mention that this video will be again quite long because I will show you the steps quite detailed. So if you don't have the time now, watch it later. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so as you can see here, there are more parts lying here compared to the first part I uploaded a few days ago. Let's begin at the right. As you can see here, I have a toothbrush, which is quite useful if you want to remove bigger dust parts or you want to remove sticky oil from case parts, not the aperture blades. And it's also quite easy to clean up the brush after usage, and so it's a very handy tool because, for example, if you're using always paper towels, or this is from a kitchen roll, paper from the kitchen roll, you're maybe losing parts of the kitchen roll, and so a toothbrush is quite handy. The second tool is the quite common screwdriver. This is the smaller one compared to the first video, to the first part of my video series. So this one fits, and not as this one is the smaller one, not the bigger one. And here is a very important tool. As said within my first part, I didn't have such a set till now, but yeah, I thought why not, and so I bought yesterday a small screwdriver kit here. And to be precise, you will only need the 1mm straight, not crossed set. So if you want to buy a screwdriver, you also can buy a 5 or 6 buck 1mm screwdriver, or you can also buy a 0.8 screwdriver, but a 1mm is also okay, and it's magnetic, as you can see. You will also need a few Q-tips for cleaning, for adding the grease to the mechanics, for example. You will also need something to mark your position of your rings, and this is quite important because you will need a marking to know where this marking was, or this marking, the infinity marking was, and so it's quite handy to have such stickers. As you can see here, I've already marked one sticker, which isn't needed normally, but it's good to have a marking. And you will also need, and here in this part I have it here, this is a standard grease which cost me around 5 or 6 bucks. It's yeah, a little bit cheaper than the cheapest ones. You normally pay 2 or 3 bucks for the cheapest ones, but this one is temperature consistent. It's also quite steady, it's sticking where you add it, and you also don't have to re-add grease after, I don't know, a few weeks or months or so. And so I thought, why not invest 2 or 3 bucks more? This grease, you can use grease as the grease you like to buy, or you can invest in better grease if you like to. And here is a point which is quite important. This is standard grease, which is smelling a little bit funny. If you know the industrial grease, it's smelling a little bit like this, but the smell is vanishing quite fast. And if you're, and so yeah, it's quite okay for the usage. But if you're buying a new one, maybe you can smell it before buying. I don't know if that's possible. Or you can also get the much more expensive clock grease, which is not smelling, and it's maybe even a little bit better, but this costs around 15 or 18 bucks or so for much less. And so I bought this one, but you can buy what you like, or which is fitting your pocket. Here is also the standard cleaner I use for nearly everything. It's quite handy to clean up your hands, for example, because cleaning alcohol or this electronic cleaner is too aggressive for your hands to remove grease, and water is normally not the best way to remove oil or grease from your hands. And it's also quite handy if you want to clean up your optics, for example. And here you have the electronic cleaner. I also mentioned within my first part for removing oil, for removing very sticky dust, for example. And here is the oil you can add, for example, to your aperture blades if they're stuck or if they're turning too hard. And I forgot to put it here. You can also use again this microfiber cloth if you want to, or if you plan to remove the optics, which is quite important because the optics are otherwise falling out or falling on the table, on the floor, and with this microfiber cloth, you can catch them safely. But in this part I won't show you the optics because I showed you this part within the first video. And I also have lying here a banded nipper, which is quite handy for removing small screws, for picking up small screws. And I also have here a set of small screws which are normally which are intended for usage with clocks, but you can also use them for the lens. And I have to say I used one already for this lens because one screw broke, as you can see here. And so I have to say it's quite handy, and it cost me also around, I don't know, $8 or $7. And so it's if you plan to repair other lenses, it's maybe quite handy. Yeah, so that's it. And you also have this paper towel here for cleaning, and that's it from the side of the equipment. So let's begin with the lens. As you can see here, this is the same lens I used for the first video, and it also opens up the same way. You place your fingers on both rings here on the clicking or the limiting aperture ring and the working aperture ring, and turn it against clockwise. And you can remove now the inner shell, the optical shell, you already know maybe from the first part. And it's, as said, very fine threaded. And I will begin first with the inner shell because we focusing shell is quite greasy. And so as I told you, it's quite handy, and you already need such a marking now to add, for example, we marking where your ring was. It's not that important if you set the aperture to the max position, so you can close it down to 16, because then you will have less problems later. And you can also mark, for example, here that this is, and I'm not using the marked now, I'm using another one, that this was the place where this screw was, and okay, it got loose. Damn it. Let's take a blue one now. And you mark here your screw where it was, and I hope it's sticking now. And and let's unscrew it. As you can see, this time it fits because this is a smaller screwdriver. And I also want to mention that you maybe need a place where you can put your screws. And I'm normally using this cap from the screen cleaner because it's quite small and it's handy. And now you removed, as you can see, I removed the limiter screw, which is for the clicking aperture. If you want always with full aperture control, you can remove it completely, and then you can always use the working aperture, and there will be no limitation anymore by the clicking aperture control ring. This is maybe interesting for someone out there, because you maybe like to use always the working aperture. Then you remove this second screw, which is quite small, and be patient because this is maybe falling out, but normally it's stuck if you unscrewed it completely. And I normally use my nipper then to get it out completely. And it's, as you can see, mine is quite stuck. And this is a little bit annoying, I have to say. I don't have any play because it's stuck that extremely. But if you want to open up your lens and put it together again, it's quite annoying sometimes. So now you can unscrew this working aperture control ring. It's also very fine threaded, as you can see. And as soon as you remove it, you can, if you want, to remove, and this is very important, normally it's your lens is scratchy or your aperture control ring is very hard to turn because there are many mechanical metal parts here in the grease, because they don't remove this mechanical parts or this dust when they screw in the screws. And so yeah, it's quite annoying, and you normally have this problem with nearly every old Helios 44-2 lens. So normally you don't need to add new grease, and as you can see, I didn't add new grease here, and it's working nice. So just clean up we dust and we mechanical metal parts which are maybe sticking on the grease. And here you now have two options if you want to the front of the aperture blades. To the back, it's very easy. I already showed it within the first part, but I showed it again here. You only have to unscrew this part here, and then you can already, I already used Q-tip. You already can clean up the aperture blades. As you can see here, it's quite easy. Only use the Q-tip counterclockwise, because otherwise it's losing threads. And yeah, I already cleaned up the aperture blades as far as it's useful, or as far as it helps. But to the front, if you want to the front, you have two options, and this is quite important. If you don't want to remove this aperture control ring, you can also remove this ring here, as I showed you before, and you can remove the optics, and then you can also clean the aperture blades. But if you already unmounted, for example, this aperture control ring, you can also, and this is very nice to know, you can also remove this small screw here, which is on the side of the barrel. Use your, this is the first time that I use it, use your 0.8 or 1.0 millimeter screwdriver to unmount this screw completely. And this is one of the few screws you need to remove completely. Be careful that you're not losing it, although I have to say it's quite nice that it's that greasy, because screws are normally sticking on your screwdriver. And now you can, now you can, as you can see, remove the complete top part, including the optics, and screw it. Be careful. Yeah, now you can also clean the lens quite easily, as you can see. And I remove this now, and as you can see, you have now the barrel with the aperture control mechanism right here. You can also use the electronic cleaner or cleaning alcohol, and you're cleaning up the aperture blades a little bit. For example, add oil if you want to. For example, you also have access to the aperture control holding mechanism, so you can add oil if you want to. And yeah, as you can see, now it's quite easy to, now it's even possible, and this is quite important if you want to, but I don't recommend it. You can remove this safety pin here. Yeah, a safety ring, it's a safety ring. And you need such a safety ring nipper to remove it. And then you can also change and put out the aperture control blades, or the complete aperture control mechanism. But don't do this if you don't need to, because you can clean up and oil it this way. So let's put it together again. And now it's quite important, and I forgot to look for it. There is already as you can see here, there's already a hole where the screw was, and this is very important because you have to screw in this small, very, very small screw in this hole again, because otherwise your aperture control ring is scratching. And now I will hold my finger here to know where the hole was. And I hope that, yeah, I'm getting here. And okay, now I'm also resetting the aperture a little bit. Okay, you maybe need to use a little bit of force to get to the hole again, and you can see it normally through this small hole. And now I will hopefully find this small screw. Okay, I'm getting all three. And now I will re-screw it in. And as you can see, it's maybe also quite useful to have a magnetic head, screwdriver head, because this, if you lose one screw, it's quite fatal. Especially this one, because this one you have to screw in completely. And I don't know. Okay, now it's possible to screw it in further. Oh, damn it. And don't use too much force with the screws, because as said, I already broke one, although I didn't use that much force. And yeah, it's bad if you break, for example, this one, because then you can't close the lens down, or you can't open it again. So now you can also add grease if you like here and here a little bit, for example, but I will not do this now because it's not useful with this lens, or let's say I don't want to make it too long, this video. Now it's and the next point is also quite important. As you can see, the aperture is now closed down, is still closed down, and I will open it now so I can add add the limiter pin without any problems. And as you can see, I have here my marking. Here was the screw, because I also marked it because here is also an option to mount a screw, the screw. And it's also quite important that you don't screw it too far inside. As you can see here, a fingernail or so is quite perfect between these two rings here. And now I will re-screw it in, or I will try to re-screw it in, because it's quite hard sometimes. So I will get the two screws now again, and I will use this one first. And now I hope that I can screw it in again, because this one is the most annoying. Damn it. This one is the most annoying part of this opening, because this screw isn't fitting in perfectly, or it's fitting too perfectly inside. And don't forget that you need the screw hole on the back. So as you can see, I'm now at the position for the full opened aperture blade with the ring. Okay, now I'm at the thread, and yeah, as you can see, it's a little bit annoying to find the thread. Damn it. And now I found it, the hole. As you can see, it's quite hard, and this is also the case why I mentioned that it's maybe too hard for someone. And yeah, this is maybe, as you can hear it, maybe it's a little bit scratching now. This is maybe also the case, yeah, this is also maybe the case because I didn't screw the inner screw perfectly inside. So normally I have to open it up again. And yeah, but I'm not doing this now because I don't want to make this video too long. Now you open the aperture again completely, and then rescrew the limiter screw if you want to, and I recommend it that you rescrew it inside. So now we have optical part screwed down again, and as you can see, it's working like a charm. This is where the aperture, although it's a little bit scratching now because of the inner screw, and the working aperture is also working normally. Yeah, as you can see, you can limit the aperture as you like again. Yeah, this was the optical part, and yeah, as said, if you want to open up the optical shell, you also can remove this one, remove the lens elements directly with the inner securing. You can see here, you can remove the front optics, but yeah, I think that's not too complex to test it out by yourself. Now let's get to the maybe more interesting part. This one is the focusing mechanism. And I already greased it, as I said, within my first video, or the first part of my series. And yeah, I opened it up again yesterday, and I had the problem that I removed the screw and it broke while removing. So I had a little bit of luck because I didn't have to drill it out or so. And yeah, now I replaced it with a screw of this set, which is normally thought for, or which was intended for clock repair usage, but it also works perfectly. It was a little bit too long, so I shortened it a little bit, but it's fitting. Inside there is also a distance ring, which is adapted for this lens especially. So don't use another ring if you have a second lens. Use always your original one. And this is also maybe stuck inside because there's also a little, on mine there was also a little bit of grease, and so it fell out yesterday as I opened up the lens again. And now I will show you the focusing part, and this one is a little bit more complex compared to the inner shell, the optical shell. As you can see here, you also need, and you need it really need it, a 1.0 or 0.8 millimeter screwdriver. And here is it's the case that you don't have to remove the screws completely. You only have to unscrew it a little bit. As you can see, you already have this ring in your hands if you unscrew it a little bit. And this section is maybe looking a little bit better compared to your one, because I cleaned every part completely with this electrical cleaner, with screen cleaner, and so it's not that greasy compared maybe to your lens. And I will also remove this ring here now to have a better access. And oh, before I forget, this is and here I will use the sticker with the marking, because here it's important to have this position here. And okay, it's maybe not holding. Okay, it's not holding. That's bad. If you want to remember where this marking was, it's maybe better to look at the bottom. If you focus to this position, for example, and at the bottom you can see this limitation here, for example. And if you know, and you only have to remember, for example, a few centimeters to the left, there was this ring, or you can also try to mark it here, for example. It's not that hard to refine this position. And I will remove now this ring here, as said within my first part. Et voila. And now you have access to the mechanical system. If you want to add a little bit of grease, you can add it already here. or if you want to clean up we mechanical or with the screwing focusing mechanism, you already can clean it up a little bit. For example, remove a few metal parts or dust, and it's maybe getting better and better if you turn it a little bit and remove the dust again, turn it a little bit. But if you want to clean it up like me completely, you have to unscrew this ring now. And as you can see, here you have, you need to unscrew much more compared to the aperture control ring. And it's also a mess to put it together again, I have to say. Okay, it's not removable yet. And I recommend that you don't unscrew the screws completely, because you maybe lose one. Okay. Oh, okay, it's turning. And now here it's a little bit different. Now you need to unscrew it from the focal thread. You only have to turn it this way. As you can see, it's also very fine threaded. And here you don't need a marking, because you only have to screw it completely inside again, and then you can screw it down. Now you will have this part in your hand, and now we get to the back part, and now it's this back part is removable. And here is a very, very important point. You maybe have a lens where this screw here, this is the limitation screw, so it's not turning if you're focusing, and this limitation screw was completely loose with my model here, and so I screwed it down, and yeah, it worked perfectly again. It's maybe clicking a little bit more, but yeah, if you don't screw it down, yeah, it's maybe falling out in a few weeks, months, whatever. And I think it's better to have a little bit of clicking than, yeah, having a loose holding mechanism within your lens. And you can also add grease on this screw here, because this screw is always moving upwards, downwards on this small, yeah, and this rift, whatever I should call it. No, not rift. I hope you know what I mean. It's always moving upside down and downside within this part here, and so you can also add grease, a little bit of grease. And here you also have to add grease, because this is always turning. Every time you're focusing, this part is moving, and so you also have to clean up this inner ring here, extremely detailed, and you also have to clean up this one here. And now, as you can see, I have unscrewed it now nearly completely, and now you can remove this screw here, this one here, which I won't show you because it's not that much of information. And then if you unscrew this one here, you can unscrew this focus ring completely. And then you have access to each part. You can clean up each part. You can add grease to each part. You only need to add a little bit of grease after cleaning to this thread here, and then screw it on and backwards. And then the grease is everywhere, and it's working like a charm again. As you can see, and here I will hold it to the mic. No scratching or squeaking or whatever. I don't know if it's the same with the cheapest grease, but normally there will not be that much of a difference, I think. And be careful, if you re-screw it on, you need to screw it on that this small edge here is limited by this small screw here. As you can see here, there is a limiter screw, and if you screw it down completely, it has to touch this screw here with this edge, because you also can screw it in otherwise, and then this screw is stuck anywhere here also, and then it's not working. But let's put it together again. I hope I showed you enough, and as you can see, I'm already really full of grease. So we had this one, and this one, as said, is also very important because it's also always turning, and so you have to add grease also here and on this screw here, and you have to place it this way that the screw is on this limitation again, and then place it in, rescrew it, and I will remember this hole here. It's always taking quite long to screw the things back to the shell. And as you can see, as soon as you screw it in completely, it's again on the position as said. It's normally positioned. And normally I try to screw it in a little bit, so it's falling inside the hole again, or it's placed into the hole again. So now I've rescrewed it inside, and as you can see, we have it again in position. And now, as I told you before, I will add this ring again, and as I said, you remember this point here, and as said, this was a few centimeters or 1 or 2 centimeters to the left. And as you can see here, you have these holes again where the screws already were, and then you can place it here, hold it, and screw it down. As you can see, it's inside the hole. Rescrew it here, here. Normally, if one of the screws breaks, it's not that bad, especially this here at this point here, for example, because 2 screws are also enough to hold this ring here, for example. So don't be pissed off, to say it this way, if you're breaking one of the screws here, for example. And now, as you can see, it's still working without touching anything. And now I will add this ring here, and I will screw it inside completely, because this is the infinity position. Place it here again to the infinity, as it was before. And now, as you can see, the holes are also fitting with screws. And now, okay, I will screw in this first, because this one has a pin on top, or isn't flat on top at the long end. Okay, I didn't position it right. So let's screw it in again. And here I can use a bigger one. Okay, I don't know why it's not holding. Damn it. As you can see, it's always a little bit annoying to screw down. lens again. Especially these parts are quite annoying. I maybe cancel it at this point with screwing on, because the video is already quite long. Or let's say I will screw it in while I'm talking. I hope that I showed you. Damn it! Why aren't you holding? I hope I showed you enough of VLANs, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, I will cancel with this mounting now. Normally, as said, you only have to position it here, and the infinity here if you screw it down completely, and then as you can see here are the holes already as it was mounted before, and here are also the hole for this screw here, and if you put it together, it's normally this shape again. Sorry that I can't show you this, but I think it's not that important, because yeah, you already know that it works. And I removed the marking now, and you can also, and I'm removing this now for this, and you can rescrew it in. Damn it, I forgot something. Okay. This is the second time this is happening. I screwed in the scale with the wrong side. But if you screw it down again, don't forget this ring here. And as you can see, it's quite annoying if this is happening. And this is also the case why I said that you should use the markings, and because you can screw it on the wrong way, as you saw. And if you screw it on the wrong way, you're losing it's not in the right shape like at the beginning. It's shaped differently, and so you can't screw in the top part again. And I will show you that it's working if you screw it in right. Yeah. As you can see here, you only have to put in this ring here, and you only have to screw in the top part, and now it's working, as you can see. And yeah, if you think that's if this isn't mounted, it normally looks like this now. And yeah, you can also focus now, and I don't know if I mounted it a little bit uneven. And please look that this ring here is even, as you can see now. It's scratching a little bit, and I will remove this now again, and after stopping this video, and mount it right. But I don't want to make this even longer. I hope I showed you the important points, and that I hoped I helped someone out there. And as said, and as you saw, it's maybe a little bit complex to open up and put it together again, especially put it together again. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, as said. And yeah, subscribe if you like. I will make many other videos within the next weeks, months, whatever. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.